Good morning. This is Miss Brooks. I know it's been a while since I've made a video. I know last week was a little crazy. Friday I did do the Google Meet, and I only had 3 students show up. So shout out to Keegan, Mackenzie, and Jake for coming to the Google Meet. We will see if I can do that again. I'd like to see you guys and get some feedback as far as how you're doing to stay healthy. We might do something fun, like one day I might ask, just bring a joke and everyone can just have a laugh. So just something fun like that. I feel like this is all stressful and it's been absolutely crazy the past few weeks. So I think we just need some time to kind of have a laugh and kind of ease that stress a little bit. Yesterday, I did not make a video. We had some things going on in my family, but hopefully that's all settled. Again, not too worried about it right now. I'm going to continue to make videos starting today. What you should have done for that time was read all the way through chapter 10. Now, if you are concerned and you're looking at the original schedule I had, which it looks like this, but you're not looking on Google Classroom, I urge you to look on Google Classroom, because if you did not understand why everything was behind, I updated everything, and I gave you guys that announcement that I updated every single chapter and every single day, at least for reading and social studies, because of everything that's going on. So instead of doing chapters 3 through 5, which was last Wednesday, if you got your packet, you should have just done 3 and 4, and then we're just doing 2 chapters a day. I feel like once you get to 3 or 4 chapters a day, that's just overkill. Some of you guys will agree. But as long as you're getting that good reading time in, that's good. What I might start doing too is I'm going to read one of the chapters that's assigned, and then I'm automatically putting someone else's video recording through YouTube in the description, so you can listen to the other chapter with that voice. For me, if I just hear my own voice repeatedly for so long reading, I just get bored with it. And some of you guys might get bored with my voice too, or just annoyed with it. So I put that other voice in there. He does a really awesome job. So we're going to start doing that. So this video is for today, which is March 31st of 2020. So if we're looking at the new schedule that was on Google Classroom, it should be review and quiz number 1, which I'm going to go through quiz number 1, tell you what chapters to find everything, give you some hints, and then you do that on your own. Now, the quiz is not on Google Classroom. None of the discussion questions are on Google Classroom. The choice board is not on Google Classroom. You have to get the physical copy. But to answer the questions, you can do, for the original discussion questions, which look like this. You guys should have been doing those with every single chapter. And let's see if I can actually find it. And the choice board, you can do those things on like a Google Docs and share it with me. That's perfectly fine. But the quizzes that look like this, the quizzes, I need you to do those by hand. I need you to write those out. Just because I need you to practice like manually writing. It sucks, but we gotta do it. One thing that I wanted to address before we move on to kind of the review and the chapter, I am still getting a lot of messages from students that are just like, what am I doing today? Here is my issue with that. Every single day, I make it a point to refer back to the schedule that I gave you. I gave you a schedule. It's even on Google Classroom. And I tell you what we're doing each day. And I even put the hand copy in your folder. So there shouldn't be any people being like, well, I'm confused on what to do now. And even when I'm explaining it, they're still confused. So that is concerning me. Make sure you're reading absolutely everything, and everything from Google Classroom too, in order to understand what you're doing. Because I know it's frustrating for you to like have a lot of work to do. But imagine in my shoes where I have to create this work, grade this work, and I'm still getting notifications on my phone saying, well, what do I even do? It's frustrating for a lot of us. Staying at home is frustrating for a lot of us. And trust me, I want to get back to school as much as you guys do. But we're not sure what we're going to be doing yet. And next week is spring break. So hopefully, guys, do not do any work for spring break unless you're catching up and you're bored. Because we're still going to be in quarantine. If you're bored and you got stuff to catch up on, whoop-de-doo, you could get that done. But that is all up to you. Spring break is a relaxing time. And there's going to be a one call tomorrow about how spring break needs to be a relaxation and like healthy, like how do I say this? It's kind of like a refreshing time. Like, we need to relax, we need to stay healthy, we need to focus on that for at least a week and then get back into schoolwork. Teachers, same thing. The principal has decided, hey, do not message teachers unless it's really, 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 really important. So don't. The big thing is, I don't want to get messaged while I'm trying to relax and on spring break and get a bunch of messages with pictures of your work. I understand that you're done with your work, but I don't necessarily need pictures. Just send me a little notification saying I'm done with today's work and we're good. Until we figure all that out, we're good. And we're also going to try and figure out how grades are going to work. Yes, you might get graded for this work, so make sure you're doing it. What else was I going to say? I was going to say something else, but I keep forgetting. Yes, if you are in my homeroom classroom, I have messaged so many times on Google Classroom and on Dojo that parents need to message me saying, hey, we're doing good. That's all I need, because I need to put that into the school's spreadsheet. We have a spreadsheet to make sure we're keeping up with parents, and I'm sending so many notifications out, but I'm not getting anything back. I need to get those back. So make sure you go to your mom, dad, whatever, whoever's taking care of you, and if they have a classroom dojo, just be like, hey, message Miss Brooks saying we're good. If you guys are needing food for spring break, I need to know that. If you guys are needing, if you guys are finishing your work, I need to know that. Because honestly, the sooner I get these notifications, the less I'm going to bother you about it. Make sure you tell them that too. Like, I'm not going to be sending messages every day if you already sent me, hey, we're good. Simple as that. Okay. We should be getting into the quiz now. So you should have read chapters 1 through 10. So far from kids, I have heard it's a pretty good book. It's just a little harder to understand. It is a little harder. Percy Jackson is a little easier to understand just because we know Greek mythology. a lot more than Egyptian mythology. And a lot of them prefer Percy Jackson, which I understand. I completely get it, but I still think it's a cool series. So we're going to review a few things. I'm going to help you out. So, I mean, if you're watching this video, you should be getting hundreds like that. Because I'm almost going to give you the answers. So, like, it should be easy. So the quiz at the top, it says the Kane Chronicles, the Red Pyramid chapters 1 through 10. That's quiz number 1. So there's different sections. So there's character questions about the characters, unknown words, meaning like new vocabulary words. And these are awesome words that you can, that you can use in your writing, which really I would find it impressive if you knew these words. Reading comprehension, basically, do you understand what you just read? And ancient Egyptian knowledge. So ancient Egyptian knowledge, that part will also play into the social studies video that's going to come out. We have a lot of other Egyptian gods and goddesses that we're going to be learning about. Just try and, if you take notes, awesome. If you don't, then you might have a little hard, you might have a hard time understanding what in the world is going on. Because again, ancient Egyptian mythology is not the easiest to understand. So I'm giving everything in simple versions, just simple so you can understand it at least a little bit. So let's look at the character questions first. Answer using complete sentences. I cannot stress that enough. Answer using complete sentences and use, restate your questions. Restate your answer every single time. I'm going to be looking at that. So in the beginning of the story, it should say of. That was a typo. In the beginning of the story, where does Carter live? And then number 2 is in the beginning of the story, where does Sadie live? Because if you remember, they were separated. They were separated a while back. So where does Carter live and where does Sadie live? Sadie, if you remember, she lives with her grandparents. But you're going to have to tell me where. Those should be stated right at the beginning. Like chapter 1, at least. Carter, same exact thing, chapter 1. And if you have to think, his dad's job, his occupation, says a lot about, okay, where does Carter live? Because if you remember, Carter was with his dad. And Sadie lived with grandparents after their mom died. Questions 3 and 4 go together. How old is Carter and how old is Sadie? Again, that should be in chapter 1 or 2. Because it's really chapter 2 that we get into the brunt of a little bit of background knowledge. This book is a little more fast-paced than Percy Jackson. I will say that. Surprisingly, this came out after... This book came out in 2010. I was in 8th grade. I was in 8th grade when this came out. Percy Jackson was a few years before. They're in the same universe, I guess. Funny, if you remember in the book, they said, when they got to New York, they say, oh, we don't go to the Empire State Building. Something else lives up there. So you can connect it. Well, they don't go up there because that's where Zeus and them live. So again, how old is Carter? How old is Sadie? When you guys answer this, I want Carter is blank years old, or Sadie is blank years old. I want you guys to still have good grammar and restate your answers and your questions. Restate the question. What is Julius Kane's occupation or job? So basically, what's Carter and Sadie's dad's job? Julius Kane, that's their dad. Okay? You can get specific with it, or you can just tell me what the job entails or what it does. They do mention the specific job title. So even if you say Julius Kane's job is blank, like this is the job title, we're good. That again should be in chapter 1. A lot of the first questions are going to be in chapter 1, and then it progressively gets deeper into the chapters. Why do people think that Carter and Sadie are not related? I want you to square or circle the word not, because it's all caps. Why don't people think they're related? Sometimes you can look at a brother and sister and be like, oh, they're definitely related. Why do they not think that they're related? And don't just tell me, well, they didn't live together. Don't tell me that. It says in chapter 1, and I believe at the beginning of chapter 2, why people don't think they're related. Questions 7 and 8 describe Carter's personality and describe Sadie's personality. Now, you're going to have to read almost all the chapters to fully grasp their personality. They are very different, and I want you to describe these in at least 2 or 3 sentences, because you're going to have to give me a little bit of evidence to support why you think that. And it has to make sense, guys. It's got to make sense. So make sure you're reading the chapters and fully understanding, like, okay, this is how Sadie acts and this is how Carter acts. So just fully understand that. Now we're getting into the vocabulary section. Use context clues. Context clues meaning like the text or the sentences with it, to help understand the meaning of the unknown words. So what I used to do, this is a strategy that I learned when I was younger, and it helped me a lot. Especially when you get to map testing and when you get to K-Prep, which I believe we're not having K-Prep this year. We're not sure how every test is going to go, but we're going to see. Regardless, you're going to have to take it for a few more years. Even the ACT when you get in high school. So what I used to do is I would take the vocabulary word that they give me and look at the options for the definitions, the possible definitions of that word, and I would replace it and see which one makes more sense. Sometimes 2 or more of the definitions will make sense. And then really it's up to your background knowledge in your head, your schema, that is going to help you understand what that says or what that word means. So here's question number 9. The author makes no claims for the authenticity of the recordings. Now, authenticity is a really long word. What does authenticity mean? A, genuine and real. B, fake. C, counterfeit. Or D, sternness or forbidding. So let's go ahead and fill in. What some of these could be. The author makes no claims for the realness of the recordings or the genuineness of the recordings. I mean, yeah, that kind of makes sense. That way is like, because you don't make any claims about what you think is real, because you got to have background knowledge for that. So that kind of makes sense. B, the author makes no claims for the fakeness of the recordings. In my opinion, that doesn't make sense, but I could see how some people can get confused with that one. The author makes no claims for the counterfeit of the recordings. Counterfeit means the same thing as fake. So if you, like an extra fake copy. So if you're looking at two answers and they both mean a little bit of the same thing, probably likely that's not the right answer. The author makes no claims for the sternness of the recordings. Stern means you're really harsh, so that doesn't really make sense either. So, you guys, what does authenticity mean? So you guys pick between A, B, C, or D on that one, what it would be. Number 10, it was ominous at night. What does ominous mean? So the options we have here are bright and cheery, quiet, dark and sinister, or loud. So let's fill these in. It was bright and cheery at night. I mean, why would it be bright if it's night? That's just me though. It was quiet at night. Okay. Sometimes it's not quiet. Who knows? It was dark and sinister at night. Ooh, that sounds really cool. Or D, it was loud at night. So ominous. When you hear the word ominous, let me use ominous in another, use ominous in a different sense. The ominous figure in the background stared at me with evil intent. So think about that. That could help. Number 11, the desert should be a sterile place, don't you think? This is in chapter 6. If you look back, that is in chapter 6, during Carter's dream. Let's see, the desert is a sterile place, don't you think? So when you're thinking a desert, just imagine a desert. Close your eyes and think of a desert. Would it be fruitful? Would you see fruits everywhere? Productive? Would there be a lot of people around? We're seeing the word counterfeit again. So fake. And then barren, which is like nothing's there. So you tell me, just by what you imagine a desert being like, sterile, what do you think? Number 12, there's a window of auspicious time starting right now at 11:30, but it won't last long. What does auspicious mean? Your options there are favorable, unfortunate, expensive, or fawn. So I want you guys to try that one on your own, because I've slowly, if you've noticed, at 9, I helped you the most with that one. 10, I helped you a little bit. 11, I'm kind of letting you look. Number 12, I want you to read that over and over and over again. And those options, see if you can get it on your own. Ooh, allergies. Okay. Next section is the reading comprehension. So basically, how well do you understand reading this book? Choose the best answer. That is key. Choose the best answer. There might be more than one right, but again, we are choosing the best answer. And those kind of questions will show up so many times in K-Prep, MAP testing, and the ACT when you get to high school. So 13, where was the last place Carter's dad saw his wife? So basically, where was the last time Julius Kane saw Carter and Sadie's mom? This is in, I believe, chapter 2 or 3. Check both. Your options are A, the Washington Monument, which, if you don't understand where that is, that's in Washington, D.C. in the United States. We gotta move over to the next page. B, Los Angeles, which is in California in the United States. C, Egypt. We should know where Egypt is by now. Or D, Cleopatra's Needle, which is in England. More specifically, London. Like London, like London-ish area, like on the border of London. Number 14. What did Carter and Sadie both wear around their neck? So, underline around their neck. A, collar. B, amulet. C, chain. Or D, scarf. So, one of those is not like the other. You should be able to eliminate some, and that should help you narrow it down. What happened to the Rosetta Stone in the book? So your options are A, it exploded. B, they stole it. C, it melted. Or D, nothing happened. So what it means in the book, it just basically means like in the story, what happened to the Rosetta Stone. Like what happened to the Rosetta Stone. If you're getting confused with the in the book part, just mark it out real quick. And that way it just says what happened to the Rosetta Stone. Now, obviously, the Rosetta Stone is still good in the British Museum. But again, this is a fictional story. This is fantasy. So if you guys picked fantasy for your pre-reading activity, you got it right. Number 16, what were the only 2 gifts that Dad had ever given Sadie? And if you look beside it in bold, it says circle 2. So you circle 2 out of the 4 options. A locket, a cat, an amulet, and a dog. So you pick 2 options out of those. I keep dropping my pen. Number 17, how did Amos plan to get from London to New York in only 1 hour? So you should automatically eliminate the ones that you're sure about, hey, it's not going to get us there in an hour. But you also have to think, this book is fantasy, it's got magic. And you have to remember the specific name of this object in the book, because it is very specific. If I'm not mistaken, this is around chapter 3 through 5. I think 3... Actually, it's 3 through 4. Yes. So, or 5. Let's put 5 in there just in case. Because it's right in between, I believe. Number 18, where did Carter travel to in his dream? In his dream. Understand that. This is in chapter 6. Absolutely chapter 6. It's at the beginning of chapter 6. A, Sacramento. That's California. B, West Palm, which also California. I believe it's California or it's Florida. C, Phoenix, which if you know where Phoenix is, hopefully you can message me that. Or if you have a chance, like if you subscribe to me, put it in the comments below. Where's Phoenix? Or D, Manhattan, which if you don't remember, Manhattan is where they are currently. So that's in chapter 6. 19, when Amos leaves, what do Carter and Sadie decide to do? A, run away. B, explore the library. C, play with Khufu, which is the monkey butler, if you remember. Or D, rest. So that's in between chapters 6 through 8. I am not going to give you a specific chapter because you should understand, like, hey, this happened in this chapter. We should be finally getting the hang of where things are. Even based on their titles. Okay. Number 20, what happens to Khufu and Philip during the Serpapard attack? This is near chapters 8, 9, and 10. If you remember, Khufu is the monkey butler, and then Philip is the albino crocodile, if you remember. A, they die. B, they defeat the serpopards. C, they get thrown in the river. Or D, they fight each other. So we should start understanding where everything is at this point. Remember, chapters 8 through 10, somewhere around there. Okay, so this next section, Ancient Egyptian Knowledge. I'm going to actually cover this part in the social studies video. So make sure you're following along, because this also mentions the other gods and goddesses that we're going to be talking about. So again, make sure that you are keeping up with what you're doing, all right? I will see you in the social studies video.